Central Park is arguably one of the most well-known locations in America. It is a popular destination with approximately 35 million visitors per year. But what many of those tourists don't know is the history behind this park. So follow me. You shall travel back in time to see the world of Central Park. First stop, 1853. The wealthy residents of New York City have a desire in mind. They have been thinking about the grand public parks in London and Paris and want to have a comparable feature to bring tourists and money to their home city. Finally, later in 1853, the state legislature authorized the city to use over 700 acres of land in central Manhattan. The land, between 5th and 8th Avenues and 59th and 106th Streets, was composed mostly of swamps and rocky bluffs. It ended up being the perfect site for a park because otherwise it was poor land for building. However, many poor residents lived on the land in shacks and tents. These people, including immigrants and farmers, had to be displaced when the park was created. At last, Central Park was completed, making it the first landscaped public park in America. It was expanded to 110th Street in 1863, bringing it up to its current 843 acres. Although it was founded in 1853, Central Park houses a feature much, much older. Next stop, Cleopatra's Needle. Cleopatra's Needle, also known as the obelisk, has a history going back further than any other man-made feature in Central Park. The obelisk, actually one of a pair of identical statues, was commissioned in Egypt by the pharaoh Thutmose III in around 1450 BCE, in a celebration of the 30th year of his reign. The pair were transported from Heliopolis to Alexandria, also in Egypt, in 12 or 13 BCE. There they remained until the 19th century, when one was sent to London and another to New York. They were a gift to each country by the Khedive of Egypt, as a thank you gift for their help modernizing the Khedive's nation. It took laborers over 4 months to move the obelisk from the Hudson River, where it was delivered, to Central Park. The obelisk is almost 71 feet tall and weighs about 200 tons, not counting the 900-pound bronze crabs at each corner. Your journey has barely begun, and look at how much you've learned. Next stop, Belvedere Castle. Belvedere Castle was named for an Italian word meaning beautiful view, which was an extremely apt name. Its 2 balconies look over the Great Lawn on one side and Turtle Pond on the other. It was designed in 1865 by Calvert Vaux and Jacob Ray Mould. They intended the castle to be no more than a fanciful structure providing a view and an attraction, without serving any real purpose. This changed in 1919 when the National Weather Service began using the tower to take data measurements, including barometric pressure and rainfall. Belvedere Castle is still used for this purpose today, and if you visit, you can see the instruments on top of the round tower. However, the castle's history was not over. It continued to fall into worse and worse disrepair until money was at last collected to renovate and reopen the structure. It also serves as the Henry Luce Nature Observatory. If you visit, you can see natural artifacts that were found in Central Park. You can also go on nature scavenger hunts or birdwatch. Nearby Belvedere Castle is another feature that shouldn't be missed in a trip to Central Park. Next stop, Bethesda Terrace. Angel of the Waters, commonly known as Bethesda Fountain, is the central feature of Bethesda Terrace in Central Park. The large fountain is 26 feet tall and around 96 feet wide. The central statue is an 8-foot bronze angel surrounded by 4 cherubim, representing health, purity, temperance, and peace. The fountain was designed by Emma Stebbins in 1868, and it was dedicated in 1873. Stebbins was one of the first famous female sculptors in America and lived in New York all her life. The fountain was sculpted to celebrate the completion of the Croton Aqueduct in New York. Stebbins connected the clean water that the aqueduct supplied to the city to the biblical pool Bethesda in Jerusalem. Next stop, Strawberry Fields. Strawberry Fields is conversely one of the most somber and the most joyous locations in Central Park. It was created to pay tribute to the Beatles in a location near John Lennon's home in New York. The site was dedicated on March 26, 1981, after Lennon was killed. The location was one of Lennon and his wife's favorite spots in Central Park, and it was named after the Beatles song Strawberry Fields Forever. The Imagine mosaic was also named after a song by John Lennon, Imagine. It represents Lennon's dream of a world without violence or hate. In accordance with that dream, 120 countries have donated money and flowers to Strawberry Fields. I hope you enjoyed this look at the wonders of Central Park. This was only a brief glimpse of the diverse range of attractions. Visit Central Park and you can see them for yourself. Fair journeys!